Heartwarming confession revealed minutes before wedding. A Maid'S unexpected, life-changing reveal. The grand hall sparkled with elegance, a montage of flowers and twinkling lights bringing to life the ultimate fairy tale. Guests whispered excitedly, eyes glistening with admiration as the clock ticked down to the wedding of the year. Sarah stood at the front, her heart pounding. She was the maid of honor, the silent supporter of her radiant friend Emily, who was about to marry the love of her life, Jack. But beneath the surface of this joyous occasion, a storm began to brew within Sarah. An untold truth simmered, threatening to overpower the wedding's celebratory atmosphere. As the music filled the air, Sarah's thoughts drifted back to their childhood days in their working-class neighborhood. Emily, always the glamorous one, wore frilly dresses and radiated the kind of confidence Sarah could only dream of. Meanwhile, Sarah had happily tucked herself away in the shadows, continuously cheering on her friend, putting all her own desires aside. But now on this pivotal day, part of her felt buried beneath her own selflessness. The community buzzed with excitement, reveling in the beauty of Emily's life, a life of privilege that contrasted so starkly with Sarah's. The walls were adorned with pictures of Emily's past, the elegant venue a symbol of the American dream that felt just slightly out of reach for people like Sarah. Voices filled with awe echoed around her. Did you see her gown? Can you believe this venue? But for Sarah, each compliment felt like a reminder of what she could never have. And then, as guests settled into their seats, her heart thudded violently against her chest. There was something she had to say, something that felt like it might burst forth from her lips, regardless of the consequences. The clock moved steadily towards 1 o'clock, and as the celebratory laughter erupted around her, so too did her doubts. Before we continue, she blurted out during what should have been a blissful moment, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, and with that, the laughter quieted. A palpable tension filled the air. Sarah closed her eyes for a fleeting moment, steeling herself, before the words tumbled out. What if I told you that I'm Jack's sister? We share the same blood, the same past separated at birth. Gasps erupted among the guests. Stunned silence battled with disbelief. Sarah's chest tightened as eyes darted toward Jack. Uncertainty etched across his face, a mix of love for Emily and the burgeoning realization of an unimaginable connection. Time seemed to freeze, hanging on the precipice of revelation. In that charged moment, Jack stood rooted, his heart caught between two worlds, the love he felt for his bride and the sister he never knew existed. Would this secret shatter their dreams, or could it mend the divides they never realized were there? The silence echoed, filled with unspoken questions that weighed heavy on everyone, leaving Sarah trembling before the crossroad of family, loyalty, and love. Would this truth bring them closer, or tear them apart? The room erupted into chaos, whispers spiraling like wild wind. Guests exchanged stunned glances, their faces etched with confusion and disbelief. Jack stood there, rooted to the floor, his expression a tempest of emotions. Sarah watched as a storm brewed within him, eyes darting from his bride to the woman he had unwittingly shared so many moments with. The air was thick, heavy with the weight of the unspoken. Sarah, what are you talking about? Jack finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. This was more than a shocking confession. It was the beginning of something unfathomable. Feeling the intense spotlight on her, Sarah's throat tightened. I didn't want to say anything until now. I wanted Emily's day to be perfect, but I had to tell you the truth. Each word hung in the air like a note of a song played on a broken instrument. Emily stepped forward, her bright gown a stark contrast to the somber mood. You can't just drop this on us. How can you possibly be Jack's sister? The betrayal in her voice pierced through Sarah. Because I didn't know either, she replied, tears welling up, her heart racing. My parents were in a tough spot. They gave me up. I found out just last month I had to find you, Jack. Jack's gaze softened but remained conflicted. You are really my sister? The crowd around them held its breath, waiting for the answer, suspended in the tension of the moment. Emily's wide eyes flickered between confusion and anger. How could you hide this until now? You let us all plan this wedding. I didn't know how to tell you, Sarah confessed, her voice shaking. I thought it might ruin everything. Ruin everything? Jack interrupted, his voice rising. You're telling me that I have a sister, and you think that's going to ruin anything? The reality of his words began to sink in, igniting questions deeper than the wedding. Guests started to murmur, murmurs rising into a crescendo of disbelief and shock. Sarah felt the weight of the crowd's curiosity and judgment crashing down. She took a hesitant step closer to Jack, desperate to bridge the gap between them. I wanted to be part of your lives. Her heart broke with the admission. But I was scared of being rejected. I just wanted to fit in. I never wanted to ruin your perfect day. The silence fractured, tension crackling like static in the air. Slowly, Jack reached out, his hand shaking as it hovered just inches from Sarah. There was a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. You're my sister, that means something. It does. But this is all so much. Feeling the burden of cascading emotions, Sarah's voice barely rose above a whisper. I know it's a lot. I didn't even know how to place myself in your life. I just want you both to understand I'm here now, and I want to be part of this however you two see fit. Emily's expression began to soften, confusion morphing into something resembling empathy. Then we'll figure this out. It's just all so overwhelming right now. Just then, Jack spoke up again, his voice steady. Maybe it's not just about finding each other. Maybe it's about understanding our past first together. Together, Sarah echoed, her heart racing with a new kind of hope. Just then, before they could respond, the wedding planner rushed in, her face a mix of panic and urgency. Okay, what is happening? We're about to start the ceremony. As the wedding planner's words hung in the air, a question lingered over the group like a heavy fog. Could they pick up the pieces of their fractured relationships and make sense of this new family? Or would the discovery of their true ties shatter the very foundation of love they built? And in that charged silence, the truth loomed large and fragile. The moment felt suspended, each heartbeat echoing in Sarah's ears. She couldn't tell if it was the weight of the crowd's gaze or the revelation of her own secrets that left her breathless. Jack's hand trembled as it finally met hers, the contact sending a jolt through her. Let us just take a breath, Jack suggested, his voice steady despite the storm swirling around them. He looked at Emily, who had crossed her arms tightly, her composure threatening to crack. Take a breath? Emily repeated, incredulous. You want to just breathe through this? We're talking about family secrets here, Jack. Sarah felt the sting of Emily's words, but she also recognized them as a call to understand. I know, Sarah said softly. I didn't mean to disrupt your day. This isn't how I wanted to meet you, Emily. Then why couldn't you just have said something before? At any time, Emily yelled, her voice climbing. The anger in her eyes was palpable, a mix of hurt and betrayal swirling deeper than her dress's pale fabric. Because I was scared, Sarah admitted, her tears finally spilling over. I thought that if I came out of nowhere claiming to be your sister, you both would turn away. I didn't want to lose you, whoever you are. Jack stepped closer and wrapped an arm around Sarah, pulling her slightly from the scrutiny of the crowd. We're both scared, Em. I never thought I could have a sister, let alone find out about it here today. The wedding planner, caught in the middle, glanced from one to the other, clearly uncertain on how to steer this event back on course. Listen, she interjected, her voice trembling slightly. I know this is shocking, but maybe it's best to take a moment. The guests need to be reassured. Jack nodded, his eyes never leaving Emily's. Let us talk. Just the three of us. In a quiet space, away from all of this. Are we really going to do that? Emily asked, her defenses slowly crumbling. Yes. I'll explain everything. The past, your past, my past, our past. It all matters now. Jack's tone was firm, as if he was trying to steady the ship before it capsized. After a moment that felt too long, Emily exhaled, the tightness in her shoulders easing a smidge. Fine. Let us find a quieter spot. She brushed past the wide-eyed guests who were still buzzing with the unfolding drama. As they walked toward a small garden area just outside the reception room, Sarah felt a flicker of gratitude. Maybe this would be their chance to start anew. Once settled amongst the flowers, the world outside faded. The air seemed lighter, the sunlight warmer. Yet the intensity of the moment didn't fade. Jack turned to face them both. How do we start? What do we say? He asked, his voice earnest, reflecting the gravity of what lay ahead. Emily sighed, frustration still etched on her face. You tell me the whole story, Sarah. Everything. I want to know why you're just showing up now. Sarah inhaled deeply, settling her nerves. Okay, let us start back before I was born. My parents, they struggled. Even now, I remember the things I heard, pieces of family history like a fading photograph. As she began to share pieces of her life, memories washed over her. The warmth of a family that wasn't complete, lives intertwined with unspoken love and longing. Jack and Emily listened, their expressions shifting from anger to curiosity. For a moment, they were just three people, bound by blood, yet separated by years and secrets. But in the quiet, a further tension began to brew. What if their stories would reveal more than they intended? Would knowing the truth bring them together, or would it tear them apart once again? The question lingered in the air like an uninvited guest. Would they all emerge stronger together, or were there more truths ready to shake the ground beneath them? Sarah's voice broke slightly, struggling against the tidal wave of memories. My mom, she had two lives. The one with you. She gestured toward Emily. And the one with me. I never knew what was hidden under the surface, but I felt the rift. Emily's expression softened, confusion battling with a longing for answers. You said your mom struggled. What do you mean? She fought with her past. I could see traces of sadness in her eyes sometimes, hints of a family she never talked about. I only learned bits and pieces after her death. Sarah paused, her throat tightening, the memories flooding back. Jack shifted, drawing Emily's attention. Sarah, take your time. It's okay. After she passed, I found old letters, photographs. I saw how much she had lost. It hurt to know I was left with only fragments of my real family. All those years alone, Sarah wiped her tears away, her heart pounding with every word. You were lonely? Emily whispered, her tone softening. You never talked about this with anyone? No, Sarah admitted. I was afraid to. I thought if I reached out, I'd only face rejection again. But I just knew deep down that I had a sister and a brother too. I never felt complete. Emily's eyes had misted over, deep waves of empathy washing over her. But why now, Sarah? Why come here today? Why at our wedding? Because I didn't want to ruin this day, Sarah said, the regret spilling into her voice. But I couldn't let the chance slip by. It's been haunting me, and I finally realized life is too short for regrets. Jack cleared his throat, attempting to redirect the rising emotions. Maybe we shouldn't think about the wedding right now. It's about family, our family. Do you even realize how similar we look? Emily asked, momentarily distracted. I can't believe this is even happening. Her expression turned serious again. What about your dad? Sarah inhaled sharply. That is complicated. My dad never knew about you. When I found out about you both, I wasn't sure what to do. I was terrified. Terrified? You just walked into my life like a tornado, Emily snapped, but it lacked the earlier sharp edge. What a way to start a family reunion. I know it's hard to understand, but I'm here now. I've had enough loneliness. Sarah's voice broke a little more now as she faced Emily, the years of separation weighing heavily on her heart. I want to know you. I want to know my brother. I want to be a part of whatever this is. Jack's arm tightened around her, offering silent support. But Emily still looked torn, her mind racing through a flurry of emotions. You've upended my life, Sarah. I'm supposed to be getting married right now. The words hung heavily between them, love and resentment mingling into a storm of feelings. Would the bonds they formed stand against the chaos of the past? The vulnerability in Emily's eyes cut deep, and for a fleeting moment, they were just sisters, both scared yet somehow hopeful. What if I can't forgive? Emily's voice was barely above a whisper. Forgiveness takes time, Jack said softly, stepping towards Emily. But it can lead to something beautiful. The silence that followed felt thick, charged with unspoken words and possibilities. Sarah's heart raced, nerves battling her hope. This was just the beginning. A new chapter dangled in front of them, one that promised more questions than answers. But before they could unravel more threads of their past, the sudden sound of laughter and music from the wedding brought them back. The world outside their garden cocoon felt unrelenting, and Sarah wondered what they might face next. As she looked into Emily's conflicted eyes, a deep sense of hope flickered alive. Would they find a way to navigate through the tumult, Or would this moment push them farther apart? The uncertainty loomed like storm clouds on the horizon, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest revelations were still ahead. What secrets were buried in the shadows of their shared past that could change everything once again? The bright sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled light on the lawn where joy and celebration were meant to unfold. But under the surface, the air crackled with tension. Sarah looked at Emily, desperate for a sign of understanding, but all she could see was a whirlpool of conflict. "Let us go back inside," Jack suggested, breaking the thick silence. He stepped back, gently pulling Emily with him. "We can talk more later. It's your special day, and I don't want this to overshadow it." His voice was soothing, but there was an underlying urgency, a need to reclaim the happiness that had been stolen. "Emily, didn't he move?" "But Sarah, how can I celebrate when everything has changed?" Her voice trembled slightly, as if each word was a delicate glass thing, ready to shatter. "Because it's still your day," Sarah said, stepping closer. "You deserve every moment of joy. I didn't mean to disrupt anything, I just wanted to find you. I thought maybe, just maybe, we could find a path to mend what has been broken." Jack's hand squeezed Emily's shoulder gently, grounding her amidst the turmoil. "What matters now is how you feel. You don't have to make decisions right this moment. We can take it slow." At this, Emily finally turned to Sarah. "Slow feels impossible." Just then, the sound of music drifted toward them, lifting the weight in the air. Laughter erupted from inside the hall, where family and friends waited, blissfully unaware of the unfolding drama just outside. The contrast felt unbearable. "Listen, I know this is a lot," Sarah said, her voice breaking, "but I'm here to stay, if you'll let me. I don't want to hide anymore." Emily searched Sarah's eyes, looking for a glimpse of truth amid the swirling emotions. "You think it's that easy? That I can just forgive and welcome you in as if nothing happened?" "No, I don't," Sarah replied quietly, tears welling in her eyes. "But I believe we can try. I've spent so long feeling lost without you both. You have every right to be angry, but can't we start somewhere? Can't we at least talk?" The softness in Sarah's voice pulled at something deep inside Emily. She felt the conflict within her shift, battling against years of hurt and unresolved feelings. Would she really allow herself to open that door? A sudden laugh burst from a nearby table, where their family gathered, cutting through the thick tension. Caught off guard, Emily glanced back at the party. "It's my wedding day, Sarah. With everything you've dumped on me. How do I even begin to process this?" Jack caught the flicker of vulnerability in Emily's eyes and moved in closer, sensing the chasm she felt. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed. We can take time to breathe. No pressure. Just know that family is always worth the effort." Emily looked between the two, and for the first time, she felt a wall within her crack. Maybe she didn't have to face this alone. As chaotic as things felt right now, beneath it all, a small wish grew. Could she make space for her sister? "All right," she said finally, her voice firm. "Let us try. But for now, let us pretend everything is fine for today. I need this day to be a celebration." The relief in Sarah's expression was palpable, mixed with caution and hope. "Thank you. I never meant to intrude. I just wanted a chance." Emily nodded, still uncertain but lifted by glimmers of hope. They moved together toward the wedding, each step weighing heavy with what lay ahead. As they re-entered the hall, the atmosphere enveloped them, a world of warmth, expectation, and love. But Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine, the thrill of possibility intertwined with fear. What if the past came crashing down on them when they least expected it? With each laugh, each toast, Sarah couldn't shake the foreboding sense that the secrets tied to their mother and their family were still lurking, ready to surface again. Emily's hand tightened around hers as they stepped into the room, a silent promise for support in the unknown. But as the music played and the crowd cheered, Sarah felt a chill in the air. What other truths were waiting to be uncovered? This day of celebration? As they entered the hall, the smell of fresh flowers mingled with the joyful chatter of family and friends. The laughter bubbled like a sparkling drink, effervescent and light. But no amount of festivity could drown out the drum of uncertainty in Sarah's chest. She tried to focus on Emily's radiant dress, the way it flowed like liquid ivory around her legs. But her heart raced with the knowledge that every moment was tethered to unfinished business. Jack led them to a table where their parents were eagerly awaiting them, his presence serving as a calming force. The warmth of family surrounded them like a fragrant embrace, yet Sarah could feel tension creeping back in, a reminder that beneath smiles of congratulation, unresolved chaos waited like a shadow. "Hey, you made it!" Their mom gushed, clapping her hands together in delight, blissfully unaware of the turmoil just outside. Sarah sought refuge in Emily's silent side glance. A mix of reassurance and anxiety shimmered between them. "Yeah, just needing a little air," Emily replied, returning her mother's bright smile, but wearing it like a fragile mask. Jack squeezed her hand again, offering quiet strength. In that moment, Sarah admired him for protecting Emily, ensuring she didn't fall apart under the weight of every glance. As the wedding ceremony approached, the hall filled with familiar faces, too many for comfort. Each one held a piece of the past, some far more pronounced than others. Uncle Tom with his booming laughter, Aunt May with loving but questioning eyes, and countless cousins, all holding their expectations like balloons on strings. "Let us get some drinks. You up for a toast?" Jack suggested, breaking the palpable silence between Emily and Sarah once again. Emily nodded, grateful to retreat for a moment. As they moved to get the drinks, Sarah caught sight of an unfamiliar face in the crowd, a woman standing alone near the entrance. Long, dark hair framed a face that seemed oddly familiar, while her wide eyes searched the room. A deep instinct stirred within Sarah, calling her to this stranger. "Who is that?" Sarah whispered to Emily, pointing discreetly. Emily followed her gaze, momentarily distracted. I don't know. She looks like someone I should know," she replied, brows furrowing in thought. But before Sarah could press further, the woman approached them with a hesitant smile, the swirl of conversations fading into an echo behind her. "Emily," she said softly, as if testing the waters. Emily's expression shifted from confusion to shock. Do I know you?" The woman stepped closer, lowering her voice, yet the crowd buzzed around them. "It's been years. I'm Katie, your cousin. We need to talk." Time stalled. Sarah watched as Emily's eyes widened, recognition hitting. This was a revelation, a long-lost connection resurfacing on the most significant day of their lives. The air tinged with something electric, the kind of energy that promised a shift, a truth about their family. "Now," Emily's voice trembled, the invitation hanging in the air like ripe fruit, ready to drop. "While there's still time," Katie urged. Sarah shifted anxiously, a strange mix of excitement and dread blooming in her stomach. "Then let us go somewhere private?" As they moved away from the laughter and the clinking of glasses, Sarah realized she was holding her breath, fearing what revelation might follow. What secrets lingered in this unexpected family meeting? And would they risk an already tense bond for the chance to uncover truths long buried? The door creaked open as they stepped into a quieter corner of the hall, the muted party sounds drifting off behind them. When Katie finally spoke, it would change everything. But then came the first tremor of impending doom. Sarah noticed the way Emily's hands shook, how her eyes darted between them, caught between hope and fear. What if this moment turned her wedding day into something far greater and more painful than she ever thought possible? Katie took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto Emily's with a seriousness that was hard to ignore. "I know this is a lot to take in, especially today, but there are things you don't know about our family. Important things. Things that could change how you view everything." Emily's expression shifted, a mix of curiosity and fear painted across her features. "What do you mean?" Her voice was barely above a whisper, the weight of the moment pressing down like an anchor. Sarah stood back, feeling like an unwelcome guest intruding on a personal conversation. But she couldn't leave. She needed to know what was happening, what this would mean for Emily, for all of them. Her heart pounded in her ears. "It's about our parents, and the past they've kept hidden from us." Katie's voice trembled, but there was a fire behind her words. "There's a reason the family hasn't seen you in so long." Anger flared instinctively in Sarah. "How do you know about everything? Who told you?" "Sarah, please," Emily started, reaching for her sister's hand, but Katie lifted her hand, signaling for a moment of silence. "I found out only recently that my father, your uncle, had secrets that he took to the grave. He didn't think I'd ever find out, but I did through a letter." Emily's eyes widened, and Sarah felt the ground shift beneath them. "Secrets? Letters? Wasn't this day supposed to be filled only with laughter and love? I don't want to ruin today, Katie continued, her own eyes welling with emotion. But today is the only day I can get through to you, the only time when you'll understand how important this is. You deserve the truth. Just tell us, Emily urged, her resolve momentarily breaking as tears gathered in her eyes. What is the truth? Katie hesitated, as if deciding how to piece everything together. Then she plunged ahead. There was a family feud, one my father drowned in alcohol rather than face. It was about a betrayal, a love affair that broke apart families. And it was kept from you too because they thought you couldn't handle it. At that moment, everything felt like it was crumbling into chaos. Sarah glanced at Emily, whose expression was a tumult of shock, anger, and sorrow. What love affair? Who was involved? It was about your parents, Katie whispered, her voice dry. And who they truly are. We're not just a family with everyday problems. We're a mosaic of hidden pain and loss. Emily reeled back, gripping her head in disbelief. No, it can't be. My parents wouldn't do that. But they did. Katie stepped forward, her voice softening. They didn't tell you because they were afraid you would suffer the same fate. They wanted you to be free of the weight of our family's history. Silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating, as the reality of Katie's words sank in. Are you saying everything I believed was a lie? Emily's voice strained with betrayal, her wedding dress shimmering like a ghost in the dim light. Not everything. But there are shadows you need to know about before you step into a future you can't take back, Katie replied, her gaze steady. The music from the hall drifted faintly through the door, laughter echoing like distant memories taunting them. Sarah's stomach twisted. Would she be able to support Emily through this turmoil? Was there even a way to reconcile what they had lost with the truth they were now faced with? As Katie's words hung in the air, the door swung open again, nearly rattling on its hinges. A familiar voice called out, breaking through the tension. Emily, it's almost time. They turned, hearts racing, the frequency of the atmosphere charged. They were on the cusp of a storm, poised to either break free or fall apart. In that moment, Sarah knew everything was about to change. Would Emily stand strong, or would these revelations cast a shadow over a day that was supposed to be filled with light? Before they could collect themselves, Katie took a step back, urgency painting her features. You have to decide. As the door closed behind them with a soft thud, Sarah's heart raced. What choice would Emily make? Could their family withstand an unraveling truth? And wouldn't it be the ultimate betrayal if they chose to deny everything they had just learned? The door swung open, and Emily felt the warmth of the brightly lit hall spill into the tight space. It was like sunlight breaking through a dark cloud, but it did nothing to soften the weight on her heart. Laughter echoed from the other side, as if mocking the turmoil that had just unfurled. Emily, come on, you'll miss it. The voice, filled with excitement, was that of her best friend, Laura, who had been with her every step of this wedding journey. Emily's gaze darted back to Katie, who remained rooted to the spot, an air of urgency surrounding her. Is this really the right time? She asked, searching for any shred of hope that it could wait. Yes, Katie replied firmly, her resolve evident in the way she squared her shoulders. You have to understand who you are entering this marriage as. You can't go into a life with someone else without knowing your own. Emily felt the room spin. But today, as she glanced towards the hall, where friends and family waited, where love was meant to blossom not with shadows of betrayal, but with joy and laughter. This is your moment, Emily. The biggest choice of your life stands before you. Katie's eyes shimmered with concern, yet shone with a hint of determination. But the truth will always find a way. Better now than later, don't you think? For a brief moment, Emily was lost in thought. Her mind drifted back to the innocence of her childhood, a time filled with family gatherings and love. She clutched at the lace of her dress, the fabric cool against her clammy skin. She remembered the sweet stories her parents told, the way they would laugh and embrace her without reservation. How could a betrayal possibly exist in the same space as those cherished memories? I need to know, Emily finally said, her voice a mere whisper. She wasn't sure if she could bear the truth, but she realized it was no longer a choice. It had become a necessity. Katie took a deep breath and let it out slowly, her expression softening. Your mother, she had a connection with someone that went deeper than friendship. It was someone from this family, someone your father thought he could trust. Emily's heart sank as reality crystallized in her mind, but she pressed on. Who? Your father's brother, my dad. Our family has been torn apart by this for years. He made a choice that changed everything. Katie looked down, her voice trembling with the weight of her own revelations. And that choice affected both of our lives more than you know. The words broke through Emily's soul. A tidal wave of betrayal washed over her. She struggled to process. You mean yes, Katie confirmed with a nod. There was a love affair. It wasn't just a fight, Emily. It was a fracture that led us all here today. It's why I came to you now. You need to decide if you want to walk into this marriage with the heavy truth. Tears began to spill from Emily's eyes. They were filled with questions that clawed at her. Could love truly conquer such devastating secrets? Or was it doomed from the start, marked by the darkness of her family's past? A crescendo of sound filled her ears as voices blended into one another from the hall, amplifying the silence between the three women. The music had changed. The beats now bled into something soft and romantic, a melancholic wedding refrain. I can't do this, I can't even think. Give me a moment, Emily said, panic bubbling up as she turned slightly away from her sister and Katie, seeking refuge in her own confusion. But reality loomed, and the door was still ajar, urging her back to the frenzy of the moment. We're running out of time. Sarah broke through hesitantly. The look in her sister's eyes was strained with worry. I think you should just go out there. You deserve a life without no. Emily cut her off, turning back to face them, her determination igniting. I need to confront this. Not just for me, but for the love I think I know. If love is real, it should withstand even this. The door swung wider, and a burst of laughter rang out. Heart racing, Emily took a step back, inhaling deeply. Then let us figure this out together. Katie said, Emily nodded, steel gripping her heart. She understood that this was less about the wedding dress she wore and more about uncovering the roots of her family. Would she muster the courage to unravel these secrets at the wedding, where joy was supposed to reign? And could love truly bloom amid such tangled vines of betrayal? What awaited her beyond the threshold? Each question thrummed in her ears, louder than the music that flooded the hall. Today was not just about love. It was about finding clarity in the chaos. Emily paused, her breath caught in her throat. The laughter from the hall grew louder, wrapping around her like a shroud mimicking warmth while her insides twisted with turmoil. That familiar melody drifted in, blending elegance with her disarray, screeching a truth that refused to be silenced. Are you with me? Katie asked, her eyes locking onto Emily's, pleading for affirmation. Yeah, Emily breathed, though her voice trembled. I don't know where to start. The beginning, Katie urged gently. You have a right to know everything before taking that leap. You deserve to step towards love fully aware, not carrying the weight of someone else's choices. The resolve in Katie's voice anchored Emily. Okay, let us lay it all out. Emily wiped away the tears that threatened to spill over again. She could still feel the lace of her dress brushing against her skin, as if it were urging her to face the truth. How did they get here? What happened? Katie hesitated, the air between them thick with unspoken fears. It started years ago, back when you were a child. Family gatherings were filled with laughter then, remember? We were so naive, oblivious to the current that lay beneath. I think it took everyone by surprise, this unthinkable connection. Emily's heart raced. But how could they? The whisper of disbelief escaped her lips, the thought of her mother caught in such a web seemingly impossible. It was a moment of weakness, Katie replied softly. Sadness seeped into her words. You know how love can blind. It flourished in the shadows, away from the eyes of the family. But secrets have a way of festering, Em. They can destroy in silence. Did my father know? Emily pressed, her heart pounding like a drum. A part of her wished to escape the conversation, to run back to the hall where joy bloomed instead of this floral-scented storm. Yes, Katie said, voice cracking. He didn't find out until long after it started. By then, it was already too late. Emily felt the concrete crack beneath her. She envisioned her father, wearing an earnest smile while holding her hand through so many moments, missing the fragility of his own heart. And that's why our family is fractured? Why everyone is tense? Katie nodded, a tear trailing down her cheek. Trust eroded, and when betrayal blooms, it can choke the life out of love. The realization hit Emily with a dark weight. So, I'm standing on the edge, about to promise my heart to someone, when shadows of betrayal loom over us. It's your choice, Em. You can break the cycle, shine light on this darkness, Katie urged, her sincerity breaking through the growing tension. Before Emily could respond, two more figures emerged from the hollering party, Laura and Sarah. Their faces glowed with anticipation, yet it dimmed significantly as they took in the gravity of Emily's situation. Hey, are you ready? Laura chirped, though concern flashed in her eyes. Yes, we're just discussing something important, Emily replied, finding an anchor in her friend's presence. Actually, it might change everything. Emily, your vows will bind your hearts together. But you need to know if you can face the past before you step forward, Sarah added, her voice low, almost protective. That a knot formed in Emily's stomach, but it was matched by something that flickered within the determination to seek her truth, even if it scorched. Love was worth fighting for, she reminded herself. I need to take a moment, Emily said, sparking the urgency within her again. Just don't disappear, Laura urged, wrapping her arms around Emily for a quick embrace. We're right here for you. As they pulled away, Emily exhaled slowly. She turned her gaze back to Katie, who nodded with understanding. Would she gather the strength to confront the depth of her family's betrayal as the wedding bells rang? With each heartbeat, she realized that asking for love to be enough was only half the battle. The other half was facing the past head-on. As Emily turned towards the threshold, a surge of determination coursed through her. The hall was still buzzing with life, and there was no turning back now. But just as she took her first step, a voice chimed from the back, stirring a flicker of panic. Emily, wait. Every head turned, and all eyes zeroed in on the figure approaching a face she never expected to see that day. What new truth was about to unfold? The figure stepped into the light, every heart in the room catching a beat. It was her mother, Rachel, her expression a mix of fear and determination. Emily, please. We need to talk. Emily felt the world tilt. Mom. Her voice came out barely a whisper, tinged with disbelief. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be at the wedding. Rachel moved closer, urgency in her steps. I had to find you before this went any further. There's so much you don't understand. The tension between them was electric, and Sarah and Katie exchanged wary glances. What do you mean, Mom? Emily demanded, her pulse quickening. What am I supposed to understand? Rachel inhaled deeply, her hands trembling. There are things about our family, truths I never wanted you to bear. I thought they were buried, but you deserve to know. Now is the time. Emily shot back, frustration boiling over. Why wait until now, until my wedding, to drop more secrets? Because I believed I could protect you. Rachel's voice broke, tears filling her eyes. I thought love would shield you from the past. But it seems the more I hid, the more it has come back to haunt us. Emily shook her head, wrestling with a swirl of anger, disappointment, and a flicker of longing. Mom, all I want is honesty. I want to know how my family got here. Rachel's gaze softened, momentarily vulnerable. Your father and I, there were things we kept hidden, choices we made to spare you pain. But love cannot flourish in a garden of lies. I'm so sorry. Your love kept you from the truth? Emily had never wanted to hear anything more painful. I deserve to hear this from you, not from Katie, not here, on my wedding day. Please, let me explain. Rachel took a step forward, but Emily held her ground. You had your chance. Why be a ghost now, when I can't tell if you're trying to save me or yourself? Because I can't bear to lose you, Rachel whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Moments passed like hours, Rachel's anguish revealed with every breath she took. Emily's heart hammered in her chest. But don't you see? You already have. I feel like I don't know who you are anymore. None of us do, Em. Not yet, Katie spoke up, stepping forward. But if we face this together, maybe we can find a way through the pain. It's about breaking cycles, not repeating them. Emily's gaze darted among the faces around her. Her mother, her sister, the faint pulse of a wedding waiting just outside. She could see the wedding guests, laughter trapped behind doors, blissfully unaware of the truth beneath. I need to know everything. Let us start breaking all of this down, Emily said firmly, her resolve solidifying into something undeniably fierce. Not just for me, but for all of us. Love can be a strength, but it can also bind us or break us if we ignore what's real. Rachel nodded, the weight of generations and secrets hanging heavy. I'm ready to tell you everything. It's long overdue. As they came back together, Katie reached out to embrace them both, feeling the raw connection they shared. We need to start now, before you step back into that hall. This isn't just about the love in a marriage. It's about choosing to love yourself enough to face the past. Together, Sarah echoed, stepping into the circle, the corners of her mouth lifting ever so slightly. The strength was palpable, and Emily looked between all the women who now stood at her side, wounded and yearning, but determined. She took a deep breath, her heart steadier. All right then, let us do this. They moved as one, ready to rewrite the narrative, shedding light on the hidden corners that had long been kept in darkness. The laughter from the hall faded as Emily faced the unfolding truth, taking each step forward with courage. Inside the hall, light and memories awaited, a tapestry waiting to be painted anew. The world outside buzzed with love and celebration, but Emily now understood that healing would take every ounce of energy they could muster. As the doors swung open, they stepped into something so much more powerful, a chance to reclaim their narrative. Don't be afraid, Rachel whispered, her hand clasped in Emily's. Together, they took a deep breath, facing the friends and family who readied themselves without knowing the storm that lay at their backs. Standing at the threshold, Emily felt a strength bloom within her, a resolve to face whatever lay ahead. She was no longer the girl afraid of shadows. She was ready to embrace and reshape her legacy. As they stepped into the light, Emily caught sight of Jack waiting at the altar, his heart open, ready to meet her halfway. With every step, she felt lighter. Love was a journey, and facing the past would forge a bond that no shadow could eclipse. In that moment of eye contact across the hall, amidst the laughter and the faces of family, a new story began to write itself, a story of love, transformation, and enduring family that echoed into the depths of every heart present. This was just the beginning. Now, if you want to join our journey and see what happens next, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss our exclusive stories that linger long after you finish watching. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these heartfelt moments. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending, and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. Let us spread the love, because this is the moment to connect with what truly matters. Don't wait, not even one more second, to share.